Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga-Texas construction update video. I have a few short announcements here in the intro before we get into the drone flight. First, if you're in the United States and many parts of the world, don't forget this Sunday we spring forward 1 hour for daylight savings time. In case you haven't heard, I am actually picking up a Cybertruck later today, and I'm very excited about that. There will be coverage of the event both on my channel and also by Ellie in Space, who's going to be there and help document what the experience is like. So look for that. And as if that is not enough, I just want to let everybody know that I'm going to be going down to Starbase next week to cover the third launch of the Starship, and I'll be taking the Cybertruck to that event as well. So in the time that I am gone, Brad Sloan and Jeff Roberts will be doing coverage of Giga-Texas. And finally, a fun piece of personal news for me here today at Giga-Texas is I'm going to be joined by a classmate and good friend, Gert-Jan Vesser. He is from the Netherlands, and we went to pilot training at Shepherd Air Force Base together. He is a captain of KLM Airlines, and he happened to be flying into Austin, and we're going to show him around Giga-Texas, do some drone flying, and look for his B-roll footage at the end of the video. So really great to be able to spend some time with Gert-Jan here at Giga-Texas. So without further ado, let's get in the drone, let's fly around and see what Giga-Texas looks like today. If you would like to support my efforts, please consider using these links, which will be in the video description. If you are interested in Tesla products, you can help yourself and support me by using my referral code. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons on my YouTube video, as this helps as well. Thank you. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga-Texas. Well, it's kind of a gloomy morning here at Giga-Texas. If you take a look at the clouds, front was just about to come through. The winds came up really strong and we had some heavy rain. But before that happened, I was able to get these images of the west outbound lot. You can see how active it is here before sunrise. The end-of-line facility is all lit up, so it is definitely powered. You can even see the superchargers are all lit up on the south end, and of course the main factory behind the end of line. We can also get a good sense of the amount of production, both the Model Ys and the Cybertrucks here on this lot. And as I mentioned, it is very busy and it seems to be very positive for production. This north section of the outbound lot looks like they are continuing to clear out the trailers and equipment and the vehicles and finish up some of the earthwork. All of the trenching appears to be filled in now for the conduits and lighting, so that is a great sign. On the west side in this concrete section, you can tell that the marks have been placed and a couple of turnarounds here on the north end for the testing of new vehicles, and that'll be taken care of here on this side of the end of line. A good view of the north end, the lights that are on inside. Looks like some plastic on the windows on the right that were recently installed, and of course some more equipment being installed in the main bay on the left-hand side. As we fly back over the roof and head back towards the outbound lot, this gives you a good view of the marking lines on the left for that testing lot. Also more of the vehicles, Cybertrucks here on this side, and many of the trucks picking up the vehicles. The group of flashing lights on those vehicles are newly arrived and probably getting some sort of software checkout or update while they wait to be put into the outbound lot. We see a Cybertruck facing the correct direction here with the superchargers, and as I mentioned earlier, you can see that they are all lit up, they're all powered, and with the markings and the arrows, this gives you a good idea of how the flow will be once this becomes fully operational. And I'll give you some good views, at least for as much as I can, looking into the south end here of the end-of-line facility as well. As I turn back towards the south, You can get a good sense of the earthwork that is going on the south part of the superchargers and on the outbound lot. A lot of the materials that are still stored here and the conduit on the left-hand side. Some of that red concrete on top of the conduit shows that that part is nearly completed, and then we should start seeing that filled back in. The crews were starting to get the boring tunnel set up today, and the winds were really picking up now. You'll be able to see that with the tarps blowing around, and the workers came back out and they started covering everything back up because of the heavy rains that were just about to hit. But this is a good view of the drill head of the Prufrock 3, the rest of the equipment behind it that will follow through the tunnel once that begins, the control rooms and support facilities here on the south side, that conveyor system and the A-frames and the beams that it's attached to and how it looks today, some additional equipment on the ground near that A-frame, and of course the belt cassette and the spoils bin here, that concrete section, and how it looks today. As I reposition the drone, I'm going to look across the highway from the boring company towards the new extension of the building and give you an idea of how this looks and where that boring tunnel will eventually go underneath the road and then towards that open section of the building. As we reposition along the highway, you can get a good sense of the skies and just how dramatic this was. The winds definitely were picking up at this point in time. The rains were just starting to get heavy at this point as well. So I decided I'm going to cross over the highway here and take a look at the west main entrance. Also by the trailer at the bottom, we see some new either paving or dark rock that has been put on the bottom right of the screen, and of course how the west main entrance looks. As you can tell by the ground, quite a bit of rain is falling at this point in time. As I was bringing the drone back, I did notice that there's a bunch of Cybertrucks parked here again in this temporary staging lot, so apparently that is still being used. And of course the structure on this end of the building. You'll notice that I've now resumed the flight after about 45 minutes. The lighting is a little bit different, and so is the sky, and the rains have stopped. It's a good view of all of the materials being stored on the ground here, waiting for installation into the facility. And of course this southwest corner where we may see another entrance in this area. Lots of steel parts being delivered and stored on the ground in this section as well. So as we continue to move towards the east along the south end, you can get a sense on the ground where the water is pooling on the left, where another excavation is most likely going to happen. This is also where the perimeter grade beam is doubled up, as you can tell on the bottom left of the screen, and a good view low end of what's going on the ground, plus the next section of the second floor that is getting ready for concrete and the probably the next couple of days. The formwork and rebar is pretty much established there. As I fly past these two cranes, let's give you a view underneath the second floor, on the ground floor, what is going on, plus all of the black framing for more of the windows, and more windows have been installed now here on the south end. This gives a good view of what that will eventually look like in the future. And also the materials, the crates, and the preparations to do even more glass on this side of the structure. I'm going to pause the video here, just give you some additional information about the glass panes that I've learned. It's a 7-ply laminated insulated glass, 9 feet by 32 feet, which is about 3 by 9 meters, 12,000 pounds or 5,445 kilograms each. It's a low iron glass for extra clarity, has a special solar control low E coating. Now, I've had several viewers concerned about the entire south end being in glass and how hot it's going to be inside. It looks like the glass is designed to prevent that from happening. So hopefully you enjoyed that additional information. Here we see the crews preparing more of the crates for unloading. Also, the steel has been extended even further on this section onto the new perimeter grade beam. And you can see more of the beams and columns on the ground ready for installation. Also, a lot of Cybertrucks being set up here. Those are just coming out of the factory and getting ready to move to the east side, and we'll see more of that here shortly. I did want to give you a good view down into the space between the new structure and the original one. Looks like there's some large black pipes being laid out for installation, so we may see some additional trenching and installation of that here. Also a good view of the steel structure and some of the footings on the ground, the work here next to the wall. The opening where the Cybertruck exits the vehicle, the factory, and then the vehicles go into this next opening through the extension of Stamping 2, and then out through that southeast side where we see all of those Cybertrucks being set up and waiting for movement to the east side. And here's another good view of the ground level here between the two structures and how it's continuing to develop. I'm going to bring the drone up over this southeast corner. I want to give you a good view of these tanks and see how they are developing. Possibly the crane is positioned to maybe help with putting the tops on the tanks, and you can see those on the ground on the left-hand side. But nevertheless, you can see crew inside. They may be dismantling some of those scaffolding and moving some other equipment off of those as well. So that may be yet another sign that those tanks are nearing the point where they will be completed. And of course, you can see more of those Cybertrucks queued up on the left-hand center of the screen. I'm going to bring the drone up and fly around the crane, get us a different altitude and perspective on what is going on here on the south side. We fly along the new road for River Road expansion in between the trees and the ponds. We see where this intersection continues to have work. Eventually, River Road and Robotic Avenue, which is going off to the right of the screen, will connect at this section. A good view of the south side of the multi-level parking garage. Also a large section of rebar mesh applied on the roof for another section of concrete to be poured soon. They're also doing concrete pours on all of the floors, including the ground floor throughout the structure. More of the equipment and items stored here on the east side, waiting for their turn for installation. And as I turn back, this is a good zoomed in view of the structure. Some of the double T panels being lifted right now for installation, and some additional concrete items as well. And you can get a good sense of the second ramps in the middle of the structure for the vehicles to be able to access the different levels. On the right-hand side, we see that most of the trench work has been completed now next to that white truck and been filled back in. And I'll take this opportunity to just show you the rest of the structure. If you look at the bottom of the screen next to that corner section with the stairs, there was a concrete section on the ground. And as I pull away, you can see more of that concrete section on the ground has been poured, and most of the conduit along this side on the ground has been completed as well. Good view along the east side of the main factory. The sedimentation basin, which has a lot of water in it, on the bottom right. And of course, the east testing and calibration lot is very busy, as you can tell, with the Model Ys and all of the Cybertrucks. To me, it looks like there's well over 100 Cybertrucks here at this point in time. Some of them are in the superchargers. Most of them are in that middle section lined up. I know that some viewers have been wondering when they would start lining the Cybertrucks up in a more orderly manner, similar to what we see with Giga Berlin. Well, it looks like your wish has come true, because they are much more orderly in their parking than they were before. We also see more of the Cybertrucks next to the helicopter pad on the left, and that is used actually for last-minute testing, in addition to what you see on the upper left with that linear test track. And we're going to see a Cybertruck testing their turning capability here in the helicopter pad. And here's some good views of that activity going on with this particular Cybertruck. We'll take a look at the work going on by these 5 receiving doors, the concrete apron, and also the small retaining wall that's being built on the left-hand side of that open section. We see many of the Cybertruck castings on the ground all over this section, and the work that continues on those receiving doors on the left, waiting for more of the concrete. Next to the towers, we see this excavation going on. Also, the rebar section waiting for more concrete in the bottom center, and more castings as well, plus the racks that are put on this new concrete apron section. This area that has had the concrete removed, we can see those kind of the rusty items on the left. Those are screw type piers. They're being put into the holes along this side. That suggests that a brand new foundation, possibly an extension to the building, will be put in on this side. So that's an interesting development, something worth watching to see what they end up doing. Another good look at the widened berm, more of the concrete apron, the castings, other materials for the furnaces on the inside, and of course the rack mounts for the castings along this northeast side. So a lot of activity going on here in the casting machine structure of the building. And as I get in a little bit closer, this is a good view from this altitude of the activity here on the east side. And how much wider this is than it originally was, especially with that large concrete section on the left-hand side of the screen. I'm going to pan the drone down here as I fly along this side, just so you can get a good view of all the castings here. Pretty much all of these that we see are for Cybertrucks, so possibly another great sign about production that is going on. As we fly along towards the north side, we can get a good sense of the number of crates here and some of the castings that are waiting to be crated up next to this truck. And it does seem like more of these are being prepared with crates and moved off site. The latest that I've heard that the probable cause or probable use for those is for collision repair, or at least have them in stock around the country for repairs later on as Cybertrucks may need them. We see a concrete truck exiting. There's another one inside, so this shows us that a lot of concrete has been poured into that section, which is another great sign, because this is where they're expanding the 4680 production cell portion of the factory. And as I turn around, you can get a good view of some more steel on the bottom right that has been delivered, and the activity here on the north side. So let's reposition over towards the Megapack site and take a look at the activity there today. As we approach the Megapack site, let's take a look and see what activity is going on here. Now, on my 4 March flight, we saw that there was some additional work being done on the Megapacks on the north side, and it appeared to be disconnected from the grid. Now it looks like everything is connected. All of the breakers, disconnects, levers here appear to be all connected. So I would say that the Megapacks are now fully operational again, which is a great sign, and it's good to know that that is happening right now. As I go over the power lines, I'll bring the drone here down to show you the remains of the temporary electrical switch yard. That one transformer is still waiting to be moved, but there's a trailer nearby with some additional equipment. They have some subterranean items, including a grounding grid to remove, and they also have those control trailers that need to be moved as well. So this is a good view of the activity and how the temporary electrical switch yard is nearly gone from the site. As I turn over towards the east, we'll go over and take a look at the die shop and battery cathode complex of structures. We're also flying over what will be the extension of Tesla Road on the bottom right over towards the east. We can see that the work on the ground in this section for more asphalt around the west and south sides of the die shop looks like it's nearly completed. And there's a lot of activity going on here in the alleyway between the two structures. We also see some new developments near the tanks that I want to show you. And specifically, you're going to see a new foundation being prepared. There's formwork, also rebar work, and it's next to those two tall stainless steel tanks. Now, there are two additional ones that have been stored for some time on the northeast of the cathode plant. I think that's where these are going to go. And it's great to see that this is finally happening, because I've been waiting to see what was going to happen to those two other stainless steel tanks. But you can get a good sense here of the work, the preparation, and what this will look like here in the near future. The chiller plant itself looks like most of it is operational now, not a whole lot of changes. We see that trenching on the bottom of the screen towards a concrete vault, and of course that rubbish chute that was added to that temporary platform. I'm going to turn around here just to show you the work that is going on the ground for more earthwork and preparation for putting more asphalt along this entire west side, and also just a good view back towards the factory across the die shop. The lift station on the bottom of the screen continues to get some sort of work, and we've been seeing that for the last several videos, but hopefully they'll get that completed here soon. As we fly up on the northeast side, I'll bring the drone down a little bit lower. You can see in the upper left those two tanks that I mentioned, the stainless steel tanks that will go on that west side. More of the concrete that is just being stored here that was cut up by the casting machine structure. And of course here on the east side, the activity around the cell test lab in the center of the screen, the wade pit, more of that asphalt on the right-hand side of the screen, and the work with the water detention pond with some water in it from the rains earlier today. As we also see that some of the fence has been either blown down or put down along this side of the water detention pond and the crash test facility. On the south end of the crash test facility, we can get a good view of the concrete that's been poured all the way around this kind of a wade tank or a tank. And again, this may be related to post-crash testing issues for the vehicles, or maybe another purpose. Still waiting to figure that out for sure. So as I bring the drone up to a higher altitude, I'll give you a good view of this entire east side from this vantage point, looking over the temporary food preparation facilities on the bottom right, and the Tesla Road extension through the middle section of the screen here, and how it looks today. So as we continue to fly back towards the main factory, get a good view of the employee overflow lot on the right, the east warehouse on wheels, and again more of the trailers and temporary workshops here on this side. So it's been a very interesting flight today. Some dramatic weather, heavy rains, and then clear skies, and we get a good view of what's going on. I hope that you enjoyed everything we were able to see today, and I hope you have a great weekend. Thanks again for all of your support. Take care.